All right, so now we're going to talk about advanced techniques. Which are going to be ADS, micro control, which is going to be different from micro corrections, and movement. So we're going to start with ADS, of course, because that's going to be the easiest one. So we're going to go with settings. First thing you want to do, you want to go general, hip fire FOV, 103, ADS FOV, set this to 80. Go to controller. You want to set your hip fire sensitivity to 1.2, a little bit higher than we're used to. We'll explain why that is in a second. And your ADS sensitivity, well, actually, we'll do a 0.8. We'll do because that's what we've been using for switching. And then, of course, 5% dead zone, linear. So now we have a much faster hip fire. So you want to use your hip fire. See if we can find a good zone. Okay, right here. There's no targets in this area, right? So you want to use your hip fire sensitivity to make long distances feel more responsive. So if I ADS right now, look how long it takes me to get to anything, right? Now, if I use my ADS, boom, 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 right? Versus that, right? That's quite a bit faster. Or when you're in ADS, looking at an area, there's no targets on ADS, boom, find the next target ADS. And of course, just like with click timing, you want to try and time your ADS as close to the target as you can. And then now you're in ADS, you're zoomed in a little bit, and you're also going to be in a little, slightly lower sensitivity. That's going to give you your control back, right? If your hip fire sensitivity is high enough where you can actually, you feel like you have control over it to actually hit all these targets and not even ADS, raise your hip fire sensitivity. You don't want to feel like you can have that kind of control because this is about doing 180s, right? So be able to do 90s quickly and also being able to do 180s as you build your sensitivity up higher. Obviously, you're going to be able to start to do 180s a lot snappier, 90s, well, you're going to be a lot snappier. But again, right, this series is just about introducing you to everything, getting you started, so you know where to start and how to start. Start low and work your way up, right? Just going to kind of demonstrate it here. Pretty easy. Same thing as switching. Just like any other switching one, you're just going to hold your fire button down. We're going to go ahead and give this a go. So we're going to ADS and start. Just like before. So if they're in your ADS view, you can just go ahead and stay in ADS. There's nobody in ADS. All these guys are in ADS, so you just want to stay in ADS, right? You want to keep that control. Nobody in ADS. And here, because of how the targets are really far apart and they're kind of moving around a lot, you can just go for lone targets. I never really felt a difference trying to search for groupings and all that. It's like right now, it's like, so that was a good grouping, but like because you're moving around so fast, it can be kind of hard to. Oops. It's just kind of hard to find groupings on this map versus the other maps because obviously it's 360. So going for lone targets is fine. In fact, I kind of feel like it might even be a little bit better to go for a lone target versus trying to search around for a grouping of targets. Because again, these targets move so fast that once there is a grouping, that grouping kind of diverges from each other pretty quickly. So yeah, that's basically how you do it, right? You're just gonna bring your ADS in close to the target as possible. If there's targets in your ADS FOV, hit them all. If there's no targets in your FOV on ADS, use that hip fire sensitivity to maneuver yourself a little bit quicker and re-ADS. Alright, so first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna do settings. Keep your ADS or all your just keep that the same. And we're gonna bring this down to a 0.9, a little bit higher than we've been doing, but that's gonna be important. And we're gonna explain why. And you're just gonna keep your 5% dead zone. So now we're gonna talk about micro control. So micro control is different from a micro movement or micro correction rather. And you can see that when I go back and forth between these two targets, I'm moving my crosshair about as much as I was when I was doing micro corrections on VCT Latham King, right? Except now, instead of this movement making this movement, this little tiny movement is making these bigger movements, right? So you think of like game like Apex or Warzone, when targets are really far away from you, the further away they are, the less you have to move your stick. And so that's why these are really important this is a really good task to practice this on. And all you're gonna do, all you want to focus on is just moving your stick as little as possible. You want to stay nice and fluid, just like so we've been learning, and only flicking to targets when there's a bit of a gap. But not full flicking. You want to full flick if you're full flicking like this, and you're having control and everything, raise your sensitivity up, right? You want to make it as hard as possible to control those micros, but you still want to have control, right? So let's go and demonstrate that right now. So I'm just making nice little movements. Nice little flick right there, right? Little flick. For the most part, you're just going to just keep a nice consistent speed. Right, just really just move that stick as little as possible. This is about controlling this little tiny inner zone right here that you can see on the graph. It's not about going way out to the edges or anything. It's just about focusing on what. Okay, I got a 192. It's not too bad. And again, a lower sensitivity. 0.9 is a little bit higher, but 0.9 is kind of low for these kind of tasks, for this micro. And of course, if you're feeling wobbly or you're feeling like you can't really control it, slow your sensitivity down a little bit. It's okay. You just really want to avoid going all the way to the edge. You just want to try and just make sure you're staying as close to the center as you can while having control. It's the most important thing, of course, and just like anything else, make sure you're looking at the target, at your crosshair. Now we're going to talk about movement and aiming. Remains down to a 0.6 roller. And then your movement dead zone, put that to a 5 and a 0. It's like that. So there's two kind of ways to aim while moving, right? There's mirroring, which is when you move in the same direction that you're aiming. All right, this is going to be additive, which means that when you move, the speed that you're moving is going to be adding to your crosshair speed. So if you're moving in the same direction you're aiming, your crosshair is going to be moving faster. Subtractive, which is when you aim in the opposite direction you're moving. So if I'm moving right and then I'm moving left, this is going to be subtractive, right? Because your movement is going to the right, going to subtract some speed off of how fast your crosshair is moving into the left. All right. So the most ideal way, of course, is to make sure that you're aiming in the opposite direction that you're moving. It's going to give you the most control. Obviously, when you play a game, you're not always going to have that luxury, and so it's important to, of course, train both. Another thing while aiming while moving is you want to try. So on an aim lab tasks, movement tasks, you have a bar at the bottom, and when it gets filled up, you're no longer earning points for movement. But as long as it's not completely full, you're earning points. So what you want to do is you want to try to maximize how many targets you hit for each movement. So if you're moving left towards a target, you want to make sure before you move the other direction, you finish that target off. It's very hard to, if the mirror gets full, you're still aiming towards a target, or you're still on the target trying to hit it or finish it off with switching. This is, of course, dot switch. So if you're on a target, or you just land on the target, but now you need to move the other direction, that's going to throw your aim off. So it's going to pull the crosshair away. It's kind of disorienting. So it's important to try and time your movements with your aim. I'm going to demonstrate that. I'm going to finish that target off. But I do have a little bit lower sensitivity. Every time you finish off target, it's a good idea just to go ahead and switch directions. That's of course going to give you, it's going to de-escalate the effects of movement affecting your crosshair. Like this, and of course, like I said, once it gets filled up, you're no longer earning movement points. On PC, at least, you earn 40,000 movement points if you never let it fill up all the way. You can also use, see how these targets are going down. If I move back, it'll speed up my crosshair to try to catch up with it. I'm not doing super amazing right now because I'm trying to talk and do this. Might do another one without talking after this. To give a better indication of, if you can get 60,000 or so, or 31 targets, my bad, because the scoring for PC and Xbox are different. So if you got 31 on Xbox, it's probably be a higher score than it is on PC. So I only got 60,000, but it might be, I don't know what it would be on Xbox, but obviously I'm playing Xbox. And the scoring thing is only for the ranked stuff. All the other scoring is the same for like all the other base tasks that we've been doing up to this point. All the scoring is the same. Dodge shot. So I love this task. This task is really fun, and it's really, really good for movement. This is really going to train your ability to strafe and shoot, so that you're going back and forth, as well as dodging the targets. And play it the same as you just played the last one, where the rules are still going to apply, right? But now you're forced to move, right? Like the last one, you could be a little bit more, methodical about, okay, I want to move and aim in the same direction. Now you're kind of forced not to do that, because you could be moving left and hit this target, but to dodge this one, to move right, but then the target could be over here, right? So this one's shooting at you, you hit this one. This one's shooting at you, you hit this one, but now you need to go the opposite direction. So now you're forced to aim and move in the same direction. But your opponent's gonna do the same as before. I'm on pretty low sensitivity. And you can see too, like you can see like every time I move back and forth, you can see how much my crosshair moves. I got 60 targets. Again, this is a ranked task, so my scores can be it's not really going to match up with Xbox. Score 63K. What? My highest score is like 91K. I have no idea what that's about. What? Hang on. Oh, right. Yeah. No, never mind. This is the old dodge shot. This isn't the new comp dodge shot. This is like slightly different, but yeah. Subscribe to stay up to date, like to give support, and comment your questions to help the community improve. Join the Discord to get access to extra resources and meet other aimers. Stay positive, be supportive of others, respect the sport of aiming by staying humble, honest, and having integrity. Thank you for watching.